You wake up Monday morning. You check your bank account. There it is. $18,742 in your savings account. And you feel responsible, safe, disciplined. You skip the vacations. You don't eat out much. You drive a paid-off car. You say no to unnecessary purchases. You've done everything personal finance experts told you to do. And yet, you're nowhere near rich. You're not financially free. You're not investing aggressively. You're not building real wealth. You're just saving. If that sounds uncomfortably familiar, like that's literally me, then we need to talk. My name is Alan, and I spend way too much time thinking about how people build wealth, and why most don't. If you're someone who works hard, saves consistently, avoids debt, and still feels like financial freedom is miles away, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today we're breaking a myth that sounds responsible, but is quietly keeping millions of people stuck. Saving alone will not make you rich. And honestly, this might be the most important financial realization you ever have. Look, we were raised on this idea. Save your money. Put it in the bank. Be responsible. And that advice isn't wrong. It's just incomplete. Here's what most people don't realize. Saving protects money. It doesn't multiply it. And that difference changes everything. According to the FDIC, the national average savings account interest rate in the U.S. hovers around 0.4%, and many big banks offer even less. Even high-yield savings accounts? Around 4 to 5% in good rate environments, and that fluctuates. Now, compare that to inflation. Historically, inflation averages about 3% per year in the U.S. But in 2022, inflation peaked above 9%. So let's say you have $20,000 in a savings account earning 1%. After 1 year, you earn $20,000 times 0.01 equals $200. Sounds fine. But if inflation is 3%, the purchasing power of that $20,000 actually shrinks by $20,000 times 0.03 equals $600. So in real terms, you didn't gain $200. You lost $400 in buying power. This is where it gets really interesting. Because you felt safe. You felt smart. You felt disciplined. But your money was quietly losing ground. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but at least my money is safe. The market crashes. Businesses fail. I don't want risk. Totally fair. But let's zoom out. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned about 10% per year on average over long periods, closer to 7% after inflation. Let's compare two people. Person A, the saver, saves $500 per month, keeps it in a 1% savings account. Does this for 30 years. Total contributions. $500 times 12 times 30 is equal to $180,000. With 1% growth, they end up with roughly $209,000. Not bad. Respectable. Now, Person B, the investor, invests $500 per month, earns 8% average annual return. Does this for 30 years. Same contributions, $180,000. But with compound growth, they end up with approximately $745,000. Let that sink in. Same discipline. Same monthly sacrifice. Same lifestyle. One ends up with $209,000. The other ends up with $745,000. That's not a small difference. That's a different life. Here's the thing. Saving feels productive. Investing feels uncertain. And humans are wired to prefer certainty, even if it's certainty that keeps us small. Behavioral economists call this loss aversion. Studies from Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky showed that people feel the pain of losing money about twice as strongly as they feel the pleasure of gaining it. So we overprotect. We hoard. We cling to cash because it feels safe. But here's the twist. Inflation is guaranteed. Market losses are temporary over long periods. But inflation? That's relentless. So ironically, by avoiding risk, we accept a different kind of risk. The slow erosion of wealth. Look at wealthy individuals. They don't park millions in savings accounts. They own businesses, stocks, real estate, assets that produce cash flow. Because wealth isn't built through storage. It's built through ownership. Saving is like storing seeds in a jar. Investing is planting them. You can protect seeds forever, but you'll never grow a forest. Here's what most people don't realize. There's a ceiling to how much you can save, but there's no ceiling to how much you can earn or invest. Let's say you earn $60,000 per year. After taxes, maybe you bring home $45,000. Let's say you're incredibly disciplined and save 20%. That's $9,000 per year. That's great. But even if you increase your savings rate to 30%, which is hard, that's $13,500 per year. Your savings potential is limited by your income. But investing and increasing income, that's scalable. If you build a skill that increases your income from $60,000 to $100,000, now 20% savings is $20,000 per year. That changes the equation dramatically. Saving is defensive. Wealth building is offensive. And you need both. Let's talk about something uncomfortable. A lot of people say, I'm just saving right now. I'll invest once I have more. But here's the problem. Time matters more than amount. If you invest $200 per month starting at 22, earning 8%, and stop at 32, you'll likely end up with more money at retirement than someone who invests $200 per month from age 32 to 65. Because of compounding, money grows exponentially, not linearly, and saving delays exposure to that exponential curve. So are you saying don't save? No, absolutely not. Saving is critical. You need an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses, short-term savings for planned purchases, cash for stability. But here's the hierarchy. Protect yourself first, then grow aggressively. Saving is step 1. Investing is step 2. Too many people stop at step 1. The biggest wealth accelerators aren't savings accounts. They're equity, ownership, leverage, compounding. Let's say you buy a rental property. You put $20,000 down on a $200,000 property. If that property appreciates 5% in 1 year, 5% of $200,000 equals $10,000. You just earned $10,000 on a $20,000 investment. That's a 50% return on your cash before expenses. Savings accounts can't do that. Now, yes, real estate has risk. So do businesses. So do stocks. But calculated risk is how wealth scales. Let's be honest. Seeing $30,000 in your savings account feels powerful. It feels secure. It feels adult. But what if I told you that comfort is costing you hundreds of thousands over decades? Here's what most people don't realize. Wealth isn't about how much you have sitting still. It's about how much you have working. Money is like employees. If it's sitting in savings, it's unemployed. If it's invested, it's working 24/7. All right, let's get practical. Here's how you stop relying on saving alone. 1. Build a defined emergency fund. 2. Automate investing. 3. Increase your income. 4. Learn basic investing principles. 5. Shift your identity. Look, saving is about discipline. Investing is about belief. Belief that the economy grows. Belief that businesses innovate. Belief that time rewards patience. If you only save, you're playing not to lose. If you invest wisely, you're playing to win. And over 30 to 40 years, playing to win matters. You don't need to be reckless. You don't need to gamble. You don't need to chase crypto trends or meme stocks. But you do need to understand this. Your future self cannot retire on caution alone. Inflation doesn't care that you were responsible. Time doesn't slow down because you feel unsure. The difference between financial stress at 65 and financial freedom often comes down to one shift. From hoarding money to deploying money. So here's my challenge to you. This week, move one step beyond saving. Open the investment account. Increase your contribution by 1%. Start learning. Start owning. Because wealth isn't built by stacking dollars. It's built by multiplying them. If this helped you rethink how you approach money, hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments. Are you just saving, or are you building wealth? I'll see you in the next one.